blackboard just to check which weeks have discussions. Week 1, week 2, week 3, we're in week 4 now. And let me know which weeks. All right, while we're waiting for that, this week we're going to be talking about business ethics and social responsibility. What is the importance of business ethics? Why it is a thing? So we'll start off with defining what ethics is, in terms of maybe having a relationship with morality. We'll talk about why it's important to be socially responsible, because you have stakeholders, and stakeholders are heavily involved in the success of your company. And then we'll talk about some issues relative to the global aspect of it. All right, so we should learn a few things here. Ethics and universal ethical standards, we'll start with that. Ethics and ethical dilemmas. We'll look at ethics, how it relates to individuals and to the organizations. The impact of social responsibility in stakeholder groups, the role of social responsibility in the global arena, and how companies evaluate their efforts to be socially responsible. Okay. Hey, what is ethics to you? What is ethics? We hear about this all the time. What does it mean to you? People are like, hey, be ethical. That's unethical. That's so unethical. Like, what do you mean when you say these phrases?
Realistic. Realistic.
Realistic? Maybe.
Or like something, an answer aligned with data, or like a format.
Okay, so I'm hearing fat, data and format, potentially. What do you think?
I think it has to do with morals.
And what are morals?
What's right to you, what's wrong to you.
So we're talking about right and wrong, right? But what's the difference between morals and ethics? Seriously.
What's me, morals are more personal. I mean, I would have put that into business. Ethics is more like, well, what is just business? What's right for the company and what's right for the consumer.
Like, hey, moral might be a personal thing. Like, well, I got my beliefs and I know what's right and wrong. But that doesn't mean that everybody has to subscribe to it. But then you're saying ethics is different because it involves other people, right? We're involving someone else outside. More than just me, is maybe relative to society or group, right? Other individuals, including businesses, right? Or society. All right, so here the textbook definition is, hey, a set of beliefs about right or wrong, good and bad, related to individuals and their day-to-day decision making, right? So you walk around life and you're like, I wouldn't do that. Why? That's just bad. Like, well, why is it bad? Right? It just goes against my values, goes against my morals, right? Goes against my ethics. Or we're saying here, a country's legal system provides a solid starting point for examining ethical standards, right? So we have a constitution, right? Like, that's federal law. So the government has established that there's certain standards to be met. If you violate those standards, you can go to federal prison, right? And then he's like, well, there's state law. 50 states make up one country. So there's some different standards there by the state. They differ from the federal government. And then you're like, well, there's county law, right? Get in county trouble, the sheriff can get you, right? County sheriff violates some different rules. And then there's city law, then there's village ordinances, right? So you're like, kind of, well, it depends, right? There's legal systems for the country, there's legal systems for the state, the city, county, the village. Yeah, exactly, right? We just got a confirmation that that's the deal. And then there's places like, what's unincorporated? So when you're driving around and like, you're now in unincorporated such and such area. What does that mean? Have you ever seen this thing, unincorporated? Like, instead of, you're driving through a village, right? A small city, but it's unincorporated. Like, you're now in unincorporated such and such. What does that mean?
It's not owned by a business.
Well, it has the word corporation in it, right? So like, it has to be business related. The Village of River Forest is incorporated. The city of Chicago says incorporated in 18 whatever year. Right? The state of Illinois has the flag with the seal and it says incorporated and blah, blah, blah. You're like, what does that mean? It essentially like government isn't business. Right? You go to unincorporated, you're like, oh, I get it. So the government doesn't have services here. No police, no fire department, no ambulance, no matter. Right? Unincorporated. Right? Some people like that. Some people are like, oh yeah. But then some people are like, well, we like it maybe because it's cheaper. I don't know, maybe it's more expensive not to have it. But if you don't have a government, you're like, well, you're probably not taking taxes like that, right? Which makes stuff make sense.
What a Native American,
For reserve, for reservation.
yeah, would that be incorporated or unincorporated? Because obviously it doesn't have the US government controlling it, but they have their own local government.
Yeah, I mean, they have their own set of rules, so they can incorporate different towns, villages, etc., right? Under Native American laws, right? They have their own operations. Tribal laws. Alright, so you're like, hey, you know what? Okay, ethics and morals, it differs by country, it differs by state, it just differs, right? How do we all could come to some agreement if we're all thinking differently about what's right and wrong? Well, we do have a consensus, and I just named the major ones. We all live in a federal government, so there's a consensus about what's right and wrong, right? Constitutional law, right? The law of the land. And then our state has its constitution too, so the state of Illinois has a constitution. Like, well, there's a consensus that some things are right, some things are wrong. Right, and so next we get the legal and unethical mix, so the legal ethical matrix here, right? We're gonna talk about what's legal and unethical versus what's legal and ethical, right? You say you could be unethical, but you didn't violate the law. You're not going to jail. Not going to jail, but the people think it's unethical. Maybe your customer